common view is that the public relations person is just someone who gives messages to people. But I think the public relations professional should be an expert in research and in management, and is someone who is able to make contact with members of the public, to listen to them, to do research with them, to understand problems that they might be having with an organization, and to communicate those problems to management. So the public relations person actually should be a part of, at least the senior most public relations person should be a manager and a strategist and someone who understands issues and policies and crises and so on. Now there are many other public relations people who work at a lower level in the organization, and they may have specialties in media relations or employee relations or investor relations. Increasingly they know how to use social media and digital media, both for research, for listening to what people are saying about the organization. You make a very important point about hiring journalists or advertising people or something. I have spent many years trying to explain why public relations people do what they do, because there are so many different types of public relations people. And I've tried to find many explanations, but the best explanation is that they do what they know how to do. So if you hire a journalist, public relations becomes journalism. If you hire an advertising person, public relations becomes advertising. If you hire a lawyer, it becomes law, and so on. So the important thing is that as as a profession, it's important to come to some kind of understanding of what public relations is. And actually, I believe next week there is going to be a meeting in Sweden, in Stockholm, Sweden, of the Global Alliance of Public Relations, which is an organization of public relations organizations. So the members are from the United States, from Peru, from other places. And they are drafting something called the Stockholm Accords, which is a definition of what public relations is. Now, there's a great deal of, the difficult thing is having a committee write a definition of something, because committees can't do anything very efficiently. If it were to me, I can write, I think, a very coherent definition and explanation of public relations. And if everybody agreed with me, then we would have no problem. But unfortunately, there are many different views. So what I have tried to do is develop a definition and an understanding of public relations that I can teach to my students, and then try to develop through research different tools that can be used in public relations. There is so much attention to social media, or as I prefer to say, digital media, because I think not all digital media are social, and vice versa. So it's everything from blogs to web pages to Facebook and Twitter and so on. That most public relations people would say it's a totally different universe that we're working in. It's nothing like it used to be. Just 6 months ago, I wrote an article that was published in an online journal in New Zealand and Australia, in which I said that may be the case, but in a sense, it never. The new media are really enhancing the theories of public relations that we've had for many years. For example, it's easier to make public relations strategic. If you want to know what publics or members of publics are saying about your organization, it's much easier. All you have to do is do a Google search of something, and you can find out all kinds of public opinion. If you want to know what your reputation is, just Google your organization and see what people are saying about you. That's what a reputation is. If you I think also if you want to develop a conversation, a dialogue, or what I call symmetrical communication. It's much easier to do it through the media because it's interactive and so on. So there are many more opportunities than when you had to try to convince a journalist to write a story about your organization to supposedly communicate with the public. Public relations people think they have lost control of the message, that they can't control what messages are going to the public. And I would argue that they never could, because journalists, that you just simply can't control a message. People have always been talking about you and saying things and talking to each other. Now it's just they can do it on a much broader scale. So it never was possible to control the message, so you really shouldn't try. What you should try to do is improve the relationship you have with people, and it's easier to do it through the new media. Well, I think that the digital media are a wonderful thing for public relations. You can do so many things. There's so many ways of reaching your publics that it really helps. On the other hand, if you think that public relations is what I call a symbolic interpretive activity, where what you're doing is trying to influence the way people interpret bad behaviors of an organization, I don't believe you could ever do that, but now it's impossible to do it because they can get information from other sources. If a crisis occurs, for example, BP with the oil spill, simply has no control over what it can say, and so it shouldn't try it. I mean, they have to really adapt to this reality and answer real questions and engage in dialogue and be transparent and open and all of those kinds of things.